stick to the forests, sniffing trees, and doing whatever wolf thingies do. And vampires are just going to have to keep rocking.
Yes,
So,
we will definitely need to I just fixed the audio for the stream. My bad. But yeah, so I went vampires also. I only got to play like I don't even know that I played any matches. I was trying to play. I did not realize when you
oh,
play, like when we do a Splatfest in the US, we can't play like regular turf war with people from other parts of the world. So one of the guys in our chat in the Discord was like, "Hey, does anybody want to play Splatoon? I just got it." I was like, "Okay, sure." Well, we couldn't play together. It wouldn't work. So, um, so yeah, that was kind of a shocker. I was asking Kirby Geek like, "What's happening here? Why isn't this working?" And so that was the case until Splatfest is over. You can only play in your region. So interesting thing there. Um,
the good news is it's only like 2 days. So
right.
I mean, it is by region, but I mean it's only 2 days of time that you're really not going to be able to do it. But it's the best time to play. That's when you're going to get the most opportunity to upgrade your gear and try out the shifty stations. Which did you get a chance to try out shifty stations at all?
No.
It was it was cool, but it was kind of rage inducing. It was 2 points, and then in the middle of the actual battleground, they had a giant wall, and then on the two sides of that wall there were revolving doors. So you only had one way to go, and it was either like the right side with a revolving door or the left side with a revolving door. So I went in with like a bucket, and I just kept throwing buckets of ink at the doors and splatting everyone. People were throwing bombs over the walls. They were just it was just pure chaos. But the wall was transparent, so you could kind of tell like where people were going to go to, and it was interesting. But I love it because they keep changing that actual arena. So every Splatfest, you're actually getting a little bit of a toss up between like the two that they change every few hours, and then the shifty station, which keeps changing each time they do one of these Splatfests. And it's nice because it always kind of throws you off. You're never quite sure like what it's going to be each Splatfest or how it's going to work out. And I think it's really fun. I think it's a good way to kind of test out some of these new levels that they're putting into the game.
Interesting. Any other games you were able to play this weekend or this week?
I've been really wanting to like dig into my SNES Classic, and I just have not. Oh, you know what? I did. I didn't get into my SNES Classic, but I finally got all 120 shrines in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I saw that tweet, man. Good, congrats on
I've
that.
Thank you. It's kind of crazy, and if not for the guide, I probably would have never found that last one because I knew there was two. There was one in Kakariko Village, and then there was a one right in Ganon's Castle. But I had to get, and I got those two, and I had one left, and I could not for the life of me find it. So I literally spent probably about 5 to 10 minutes just like looking at the Switch, looking at the map, looking at the Switch, looking at the map. Okay, I got those three, and I got those three. I got those four, and I got those four. And it finally, I found it, and it was like deep down crevice, and I got it. It was a great shrine. And then they're like, "Oh yeah, now go to the Forgotten Temple." And I'm like, "Oh gosh, all right." But that was cool. It was nice to get the gear from that. I did not realize there's gear from that. If that's a spoiler, I'm sorry. But you should go do it because the DLC is coming by the end of this year, and that's exciting too.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, awesome, man. I played some Mario Sunshine last night on stream in preparation for Mario Odyssey. You know, just getting a little more 3D Mario in there. And it was a toss-up for me between 64 and Sunshine, but I went with Sunshine. I got stuck for a while and realized that, well, I hadn't unlocked something yet, but the game doesn't give you any kind of indicator whatsoever. So, like, I looked all through the level. I was asking you guys in chat, like, how do I do this? And finally, I looked it up, and well, I was missing a Yoshi egg because he's not there. I haven't unlocked him yet. So
Oh,
I found that interesting. That it was like, why don't they lock you out of this? Kind of a little bit of strange design there, but still a super
yeah.
fun game. Like I love Sunshine, and got to do some levels I had yet to do because I think I'm close to where I got stuck because I was trying to 100% it and didn't finish it, and so I'm starting to see things I'd never seen before, and so
That's cool.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So the other game I've played. Are you ready for this? Tuhu
Hmm.
Kabuto V Burst Battle. How about that? I think I said it correctly. I have a review for that game later. I played it as long as I had to review it, and wow, not good. I did get a little more time with Earth Atlantis, and so
So how is that? Because it looks like mind-boggling. I don't see the appeal to that. I like that they're going with a very kind of sepia-toned style, and it's very kind of steampunk, and I love steampunk, but it doesn't. I don't see like the narrative. What drives you to actually play that?
after playing it for a while, I'm not sure. So yeah, yeah.
Good answer. Good
Yeah.
answer.
I mean, I have a review for it a little bit later, but it doesn't have a lot of lasting appeal. Like I kind of was hoping it would when we talked about it last week, but it really doesn't. So, and then of course I played a little bit of Destiny 2, but not much. I've been remodeling my house, so that's been a chore there. So I've been between like just trying to knock out videos as fast as I can, and then just play a little bit and stream a little bit. It's just kind of been like just go 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 go. So, any pickups for you this last week? Any games you picked up?
I was real tempted to pick up a couple games, and I'm holding off because I know if I start anything right now, it's gonna get pushed right back to the backlog, and I've already got a mounting backlog as it is. Because Mario's coming out. I mean, we're like 10 days away,
I know, dude.
and I just can't even think of any other game right now other than Mario Odyssey. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of, I want to make sure I don't forget this. I don't have it in the notes. I talked to the one of like the managers at my Best Buy, and basically the whole gold coin thing for pre-ordering with them is they're just getting sent a box, and they're going to hand them out with each person that purchases. So get there early
And
if you want to make sure you get your gold coin, if that's important to you. Because I guess those things are listed on their website for $20 each. At least that was something I saw in our Discord. And I was like, what? So if you want the gold coin from Best Buy, I would suggest getting there early. They may have more than enough, but and depending on where you live, the game is being released at 12 Eastern everywhere. So that means 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so on and so forth. So, I'm excited. I get to take my daughter to a midnight launch. She's been wanting to go to a Nintendo one forever, so it's going to be fun, especially since it's Mario. And the only game she's ever beat, as far as I know, is Mario 3D World on the Wii U. So, kind of cool.
and see, the thing that bugs me about that coin too is when they announced the game, they had pre-orders available shortly after, and my pre-order didn't actually like there was no retroactive coin opt-in for people that pre-ordered it. So I actually had to cancel my pre-order with Best Buy and then re-pre-order it with them just to get the guarantee for the coin.
Okay, so I asked the guy that. He's like, no, we're giving them out with everybody that gets the game, no matter what, whether you pre-ordered it before we announced it or not. That's why they say you're just getting a big box. So so anyway, that at least you guaranteed yourself for sure. I don't know if you ordered it just to have it
Yeah.
delivered or if you were gonna go and pick it up in store, but if it's in store, they're supposed to have a big box of coins anyway. As far as my pickups, I'm still waiting on stuff from last week. This Soul Dam game, I ordered it from. Let's see, I got it at Best Buy, but they had to bring it down from Anchorage, Alaska. That was the closest store that had the game. My store did not get Tiny Barbarian, so they were bringing that over from another store. Best Buy or GameStop don't even have 88 Heroes in their system. So I
Wow.
got that on Amazon, and Amazon's also, and they were supposed to be here today, but it got a delay. And then Sinmora, the side scrolling,
Cinemora.
yeah, Cinemora, it's coming with 88 Heroes, and that got delayed. I mean, I pre-ordered that game before it launched, and I'm just now getting it. And so I checked it. I checked eBay to see, like, is this thing like really rare? Is it? No, there's people sitting on hundreds of copies of that game selling them for $30 each. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. These aren't in stores, so they're not even showing up in some major retailers' SKUs. It's quite strange. And I've been looking. There's supposed to be a game coming out on the 20th of this week, actually, called Siberia 1 on Nintendo's website. It says it's available for a physical release. I clicked all the links that they offer. There's nothing there. I can see a physical copy of Siberia 3 on PS4 and Xbox One, and I'm assuming that's a pre-order possibly. It's only a $10 game, so I was kind of, I don't know anything about this, but I'm just on the hunt for the physical copies, right? So,
I wonder if they're doing a thing where it's like, what's the game? Axiom Verge? That it's out digitally, but there's a physical release that's coming later.
that could be the case.
Um,
There's just
and I
zero
think,
info for it. Like,
yeah, it seems, and that plus some of the indies that have been announced for the system have just dropped off completely. Like we still don't know where some of the games that they announced for spring went to. Like there's been no update for those either. So it's kind of weird with the indies right now. There's definitely a lot of hype going because we're just ready to play all these games on our Switch portably, but unless it's digital, there's not really much conversation about where the physical copies are going to be, let alone when they're going to come out, and what kind of stuff. I mean, I think Nicholas is the only indie developer I've seen that's been fairly good about it. Like I've seen Tiny Barbarian down in California. I've seen Cave Story Plus. Seen Isaac and Binding. They're really good about that, and they pack in the most that I've seen. But some of the other ones, I'm not seeing it around.
yeah, it's strange. It's strange. Even Nintendo's website, which I'm looking at right now to get into the weekly releases, it doesn't even have the games that like launched today. Right? It doesn't even show them. And so it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that there's games coming out that aren't showing up on Nintendo's site yet they're coming out on the Switch. There's games that are showing like a physical copy that aren't there's no physical copy to be found. It's just strange. But as far as the releases for this week, 10/18 we got Putty Pals, 10/19 we got Elliot Quest. 10/19 we got Galaxy Blaster Code Red. That's on the 3DS. The other two are on the Switch. Looks like a game called Judge on the Switch on 10/19. Party Golf is on 10/19. Revenant Saga is 10/19. Spelunker Party 10/19. Super Ping Pong Trick Shot looks like a beer pong game. That's coming out on the Switch on 10/19, as well as the
Classic.
Count. The Count Lucaner, I think. I think that's how you say it. That's 10/19 as well. We got a Jack Party Pack 4 is 10/19, and then we got Fire Emblem Warriors coming out 10/20. It's coming out on the Switch and the 3DS. And then Siberia is announced, and it's also in the coming soon on the Switch's menu. So I'm fairly certain the game is going to be released digitally on that day, and then we may see a physical copy later. But who knows? So, out of any of those, anything that you think you'll pick up?
Well, now that you mentioned the Super Ping Pong Trick Shot, I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah,
I want to see what's going on with that.
$5, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with $5. That's easy. Just that's a coffee. I can play around with a weird game that's trick shot for a coffee. The Judge sounds interesting. I'm gonna look into this because I was looking at some of the graphics. It's isometric. It kind of looks like an XCOM, but it's what was the one, Mr. Shifty? that came out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This kind of looks like a shoot 'em up in an isometric view, very similar to Mr. Shifty, with different quests, and they've got different systems and stuff. So kind of feels like Judge Dredd as a Mr. Shifty style viewed game. So I'm probably going to take a look at this and see what everyone else is saying, see if it's worth it. But $15, that's easy. Can't imagine maybe 10, 20 hours for gameplay or so.
Yeah.
So not too bad. We've got another bundle, a whole nother week worth of games from indie developers. There's more games in this week than there are actual days of the week. It seems strange that we're getting so many indie titles so quickly, that even the good ones are eventually going to get buried on the eShop. It's kind of strange.
Right. Well, and Hate in the chat is saying Nintendo is not good at marketing third-party or eShop games, period. And, I mean, the eShop got an update this last week, which I was like, sweet. We talked about it, I think, last week, that they need to put, this is one of our talking points here, is that the eShop now has a games on sale section with one game on sale, but what it replaced was the all games. You can't look up all the games now. At least
Are you? No.
you can you can double check me. But when I went into the eShop today to download the season pass for Rabbids, I was like, can I not look at all the games anymore? I see games on sale and coming soon and best
They had
sellers.
to have moved it. It's got to be somewhere.
Well, and maybe it's at the bottom. You know what? I think that's how it has been. I think it's at the bottom of the list. You then click see all. I think that's how it is. So it's just never been on the side, which is like, why not? Why isn't see all right there? But
That's tough. Okay, so recent releases, if you scroll down to the bottom of the 30 games that they have for recent releases, there is a view all there, where it'll actually pull you to a separate view where you can actually search for a keyword. You can actually filter it by date. You can filter it by price. Looks like you can do genre as well too, which that'll actually help out. So if you're looking for a Neo Geo game, you're in luck because now you can filter by genre.
yeah, they need to. The minimalist design is great, but it's time to be updated. It's got to get. It's got to get an indie section. It's got to get a a retail section or whatever. Just it's got to be separated out. And it's got to get a little like spice it up a little bit. Spice it up a little bit.
At least get some music in there.
Yeah,
we could do with some music.
For sure. So let's get into our talking points here in our news. Basically, Nintendo. This is a little bit old news, but they filed a patent for the Game Boy, and a while back they filed a patent for the N64 controller. And this has people thinking that we might possibly see the classic versions of these games. Is this something that people want? And I go into this in detail on my YouTube channel as well, so you can check out the video. But would you buy a Game Boy Classic? Okay, maybe even better question. You'd probably buy it because you're a Nintendo fan. Do you think you would play it that much?
With the Nintendo Classic, or with the Game Boy Classic, I personally probably wouldn't because I was never a handheld guy. I was always a very at-home console guy. But there are definitely people who are just addicted to the handheld side of things, and it would definitely be worth it. And I was thinking a while ago with another podcast when they were talking about this, and the thing that would make a Super Game Boy or a Game Boy Classic Mini awesome. Well, they didn't even have to do it mini, but if they had a backlit screen, obviously, a lithium-ion battery, and it charged by USB-C, so you could dock it into your Switch, or you could use the adapters from that. But I can't even remember how many games there were for that library, but there's some really good games on there, and I think if they made it, it would sell. I would probably pick one up just to have as memorabilia and to try out some of the games that I didn't. But there's definitely perfectly good Metroid games. There's good Wario games. There's good Yoshi games, Mario, Zelda. there's plenty of titles to put on one of those.
Yeah, I mean, just the simple controls and everything. I mean, it works. It's fun. I just can't imagine adding the battery and everything. It seems like it would not be cheap. You know, hates it. I want the Game Boy to plug into the TV or not at all. Which I mean, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Destinot does point out that doesn't Nintendo periodically file patents so people just don't copy their designs, and that is also true. So, um,
This has a little precedent though because the shortly after they repatented the NES controller and then the Super NES controller and now the N64, there have been classic minis following suit. So I mean the Game Boy is a little bit more of a stretch because they would have to add a screen, they would have to add a battery. It would be a little more costly to actually make one. But I would probably say that I would see an N64 classic before a Game Boy classic.
Yeah, I could see that as well. The funny thing is the controller will be as big or bigger than the system on the N64 Classic. The thing that I think I would like to see rather than another piece of plastic with a battery and all that is give us a Game Boy Classic pack that maybe kicks off the virtual console that has like 20 first party games or something that just I can already have it on my Switch. I can play it on TV. It is backlit. I mean, the best way to play Game Boy games is on the 3DS right now because the screen is nice and bright. It's a big screen. It just works.
So would you want like the menu system that the say like the Super Nintendo has right now too? Because I'm loving the save state and the rewind feature. It's great for RPGs that are just too hard to really have time to bother with. But I still do it anyway. But I mean, would you want like a little packet for Game Boy games that had like a full system emulation within it, or just the games?
I think like the full package where it was like kind of like the Namco museum that we have right now, where it's like you can go in and see a handful of games, pick which one you want, maybe see the Mario sprite from like Super Mario World or Super Mario Land 2, with the little rabbit ears jumping around and hitting the blocks, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I think it would be. I think that would be a better way to go. But I mean, who knows? The thing would sell because we love buying plastic that has the Nintendo label on it, right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
Except for the SD cards, I refuse to buy the Switch SD cards.
There you go. There you go. So, well, we're gonna get into what games we would like to see in our retro section, but. Moving along in our news and talking points, Mario plus Rabbids gets DLC. I was hoping to get to play it to find out about the co-op. Maybe somebody in chat knows. I haven't seen anybody post anything yet. Does it give you online co-op? Does anybody know, or is it just couch co-op? Because I know Destinot said that's a make or break for him if it has online co-op, which I think would be great. So maybe somebody in the chat can let us know. Did you pick up Rabbids, and did you pick up the DLC?
So I managed to steal from Best Buy Mario plus Rabbids for $13.
Nice, good.
And I've actually, so I'm not an XCOM guy, but I actually love that game. That game has turned me on to that turn-based tactical style of games now, and like South Park. Something just came out, and I'm probably going to end up picking that up because it's the same style of fighting game. But yeah, I'm interested in the DLC. I don't know if I want to get it right now, but if it has online co-op and I can play with people from Nintendo Powercast and we can do levels together, yeah, that's instant for me. I would gladly do that, and along with like Mario Kart and Splatoon and stuff. But if it's just couch co-op, I mean, my cat is only going to be so good, and
right.
I can't really trust her to heal, but she'll do it if I yell at her enough.
Right. Yeah. Cats are super good at the Switch. So yeah, I'll find out more as I play next week and see if it offers on online. But they didn't come right out and say it, so my guess is no. That's just my initial guess is that no, it does not. But moving right along, we have Doom, L.A. Noire, and Skyrim, all coming out within a week of each other. Rip our wallets.
I I tweeted at Doom when that announcement went out, and I was like, "You guys are killing me. This is my Skyrim time. This is the time that I have dedicated to playing Skyrim for the first time ever, and you just ruined it.
I
You
think
just
it's funny
ruined
that
it
you
with your
think you're
Doom."
going to be done with Odyssey by the time Skyrim comes out. That's what I think's funny.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's a good problem. It's a good problem. But yeah, I mean, this is the first time in a while. Somebody pointed this out, I think, in our Discord that or maybe it was on Reddit. I can't remember, but that two third parties are going head to head on a Nintendo console.
Yeah,
Like
and
on the same
it's
day.
they're big companies too. I
Yeah.
mean, we're not talking just like a couple like mid-range game publishers or anything. Like these are like, I mean, the only thing that would beat this is if Rockstar was just like, "Oh, hey, once you're done with LA Noire, get ready to jump into Grand Theft Auto 5 because that's coming top of 2018, right in line with Wolfenstein 2." I mean, there's just it's so amazing. I can't remember the last time Nintendo had these big kind of publishers really just jumping on a system, being like, "Look, yeah, there are a couple old games, but we can get these things over here. It'll play well, and people want it portable, and it's going to sell systems to have those publishers on it."
Yeah, Hate says Bethesda's competing with themselves almost. And it's no joke. It's no joke. But I'm so excited to have a first person shooter that's of the caliber of Doom to be able to go and play like PvP. Like it's gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. And I've never played LA Noire and Skyrim. I beat the story, but got had an autosave screw up my game. Somebody started a new game and then the autosave erased a bunch of stuff, and so I gave up at a certain point. So even jumping back into that will be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But are we gonna have any time? Because Mario Odyssey is reviews are already coming in. Edge gave it a 10 out of 10, same as they gave Zelda. Famitsu gave it a 39 out of 40. And Nintendo could have two of the highest rated games like on Metacritic in 1 year. Like, I don't know what year Metacritic came out, but is it like 1992 again? Like what is happening right now? This is insanity.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. And my only concern is we're getting a Mario game and we're getting a Zelda game within the first year of launch, and they're gonna hold us out until the middle of next year. Because I mean, it's 7 months in, and I just finished getting all the shrines in Zelda. It's something that I pick up when I get that itch to kind of run around and hit stuff with a stick. And Mario is going to be the same thing. Next time I feel like I want to get into a retro game, or next time I want to do a triple jump, I'm going to pick up Mario, and I'll probably play a lot of it at first, and then I'll play intermittently throughout the next 6 months. But it's going to be hard. I wonder if they're really just trying to lock down the need for them to sell tons and tons of systems this holiday, and if maybe they could have waited on Mario.
Dude, they are, in my opinion, they are laying the hammer down on Xbox and PlayStation because their main exclusives this year are both racing games. Forza 7 and Gran Turismo. And Gran Turismo's got like a 75 on Metacritic. It's not even doing well. And so or
No.
that well. And so like Nintendo's like entered the ring with like ready to draw blood basically. And it is such a change from the Wii U. It's totally different. It is completely different. Where we used to just sit and wonder if there was going to be a game coming out at all. Now we're
See,
like, what are we going to do? Our wallets can't even handle it. So
so I come from a little bit different of a situation, because I actually skipped the Wii and the Wii U because I didn't want to move to play games. So for me, this is like a second renaissance because I left off with a GameCube and left games like Pikmin, Animal Crossing, Smash, Star Wars, uh, uh, Zelda, Twilight Princess. Like I left it at a high point for my from my perspective. And to come back to this is it's I feel like this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like I'm in my early 20s again, and it feels good, and I'm digging it.
Yeah, it is quite the change of having the Nintendo that was like basically felt like it really was for kids, even though guys our age and gals our age were still picking up, the games, to like we're getting mature titles. Like LA Noir is no joke. Doom is no joke. Right? Even Skyrim is, I mean, it's got some blood and gore in it. And um yeah, it's crazy right now. And in Mario Odyssey, they're saying in the Edge review, it said that there are as many Power Moons as there were Korok seeds in The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Which is like what, 900?
Yeah, 900 Korok seeds, and I know the last time someone had confirmed it with a Nintendo rep, they had said 600 for sure. And a lot of people that have actually gotten a chance to go play it, I've hunted down the demo from different stores. I still can't find one to play it, but they're saying that a lot of them are just, super easy to pick up. You go talk to a person, they're like, oh, here's a moon. I just happen to have this in my back pocket, but if you're looking for it. And then there's other ones where you actually kind of have to do some platforming to get. So I feel like it's going to be the same situation with the Korok seeds, where we're going to have ones that take a little while to figure out how to get them, and then once we know how to get them, then we'll be getting them all over the place. And then there's other ones that are just going to be real easy, like you pick up a rock and you accidentally trip over a Korok. And I think that's going to be kind of how the moons are as well too. So it shouldn't be hard to get through the actual game itself, for needing like certain number of moons, but to 100% this game, I think it's going to be a while. I would like to see the speed runners get their teeth on this.
Yeah, that's what Kirby Geek just said too. 600 moon, 100% speed run should be fun. And I mean, look, the thing is that it may be, I have a feeling it may be similar to what you did with your shrines, finishing up your shrines in Zelda this week, where it's like, I can't find this last moon, like it's a little bit tough to find out where they all are. And that's going to be great. We're going to be exploring all of these places, as Mario, and just doing some crazy stuff. And I can't wait to stream this thing, man. I cannot wait to stream and just,
Yep.
and we saw some, like K Cross 202 said, I hope there's some classic boss fight.
I think we've already seen like there's I don't know if anyone's taken a look at that map that's been on some of the promotional stuff. There is 100% a mushroom shaped island next to the dolphin one. I think we're gonna get to go to Mushroom Kingdom and actually have some fun there too.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. That would be great. That would be great. So anyway, I'm like way hyped for Mario. I cannot wait. We also have let's see, as far as news goes. Oh, you threw in the notes here the what is it called? The Super Knit?
Oh yeah, Super NT or Super Knit. This looks awesome. If you guys haven't gotten a chance, there's a maker coming out that's analog. They're making a mini version of the Super Nintendo. It's just a power button, reset button, a couple Super NES or Super NES ports, and the actual cartridge. So it's region free. It's HDMI, 1080p, lag free. It's hardware emulation. It's not software emulation like you'll get with like a Retron or something. So you feasibly, when this thing comes out next year in February, it's going to be $190 in the US. So it's kind of pricey, all things considered, for just a Super Nintendo system. But the fact that it's going to be hardware emulation is a huge thing because not everyone is going to have Super Nintendos last forever, and the fact that they can replicate the actual hardware for this, and they're doing different colors too. That's the cool thing. They're doing black models, they're doing gray models, they're doing white models. They've got a clear plastic one with
Cool.
see through for the actual system too, not just the controller. So, I mean, they're doing some interesting things. It's available for pre-order right now. It's coming out February. So if you have the cartridges and you want to play it on actual hardware, but you don't want to have to worry about keeping a CRT around for it, especially if you want to stream, but you don't want to deal with the emulation issues that some of the Super Nintendo classic games are having right now. If you want to quote unquote hack it, this may be a really good option for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about playing those actual carts, So,
Yeah.
we also got WWE 2018. It's a quite the debacle with the old memory card, huh? 32 gigs has to go onto the memory card.
Yeah, it's it's disappointing that we're getting to this point now. I want to understand from a developer's perspective why they're doing this because it seems like kind of a cheap thing to do. Like, you're putting the cost of the memory card on the consumer at this point, which is kind of it's kind of a bummer. I mean, you look at Mario. Mario's already touting 5 gigs for the entire game. WWE, you have to actually buy a memory card just to be able to have the game save. It's a shot, it hurts. You don't want to have to deal with that, and a lot of good deals are going out for SD cards right now, which is nice. But it's inevitability. But it's within the first year. It's kind of a shame, especially if you're a big wrestling fan, which I have a couple friends that really are, and they would love to play this, and they're looking at their 64 gigabyte memory card and they're thinking, well, half of this is supposedly supposed to go for that plus Doom. It's where does it end? How are we supposed to play these games unless we have 128 gigabyte SD cards?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Hate says, I don't want to hear this, Logan. You gave me so much grief for this.
I know. I understand. I mean, I was looking at a Battlefront 2 bundle for the PS4 Pro, and it has a 1 terabyte hard drive. And I kept thinking to myself, have we gotten to the point where we need terabytes for video games? Is that a thing? Like, we need terabytes.
I have 3 terabytes on both of my Xbox Ones, the one in my living room and the one in my office. I'm sorry,
Okay,
2.5 terabytes on each one.
Can we officially start calling them terabytes?
Terabytes.
I kind of like that.
We
I
can.
like terabyte.
We can call them terabytes.
Okay.
Terabytes. I don't know. Maybe we'll make a little game called Terabyte. I'm not sure, but yeah, and they're both at like 90%. Because you have to download every single game to the hard drive, even the games you buy physically.
Yeah, and I get that. See, I get that a lot of it is language and voice, sound files. Sound files are huge. That stuff, to record a lot of voice dialogue, you need to have good quality audio files, and those are big. So I get it, but it's tough when you're looking at a portable system with home consoles. It's inevitable. You kind of have to at this point. And unless we get better compression on audio, it's going to be tough. A lot of it, like Destinot was saying, is also on the developer. How much development time do they have? If they hadn't promised WWE to come out at the same time as the other consoles, could they have baked it for a little bit longer? Could they have gotten that size down? It's hard to know. But I'm okay with getting an SD card. I'm not okay with developers being lazy, which is what it feels like. Granted, I'm not a developer, so I can't really say like how that works, or all the inside out, the ins and outs of that. But it's something that depending on the game, I would gladly do it for. If Mario required a memory card, I'd buy a memory card. I'd buy 3 memory cards, and I would just hold 2 next to the cartridge and be like, I got you something extra. And
dude, it would be like switching out the discs like back in the day on GameCube, like please insert disc 2, right?
Yeah.
Please insert memory card 2.
Yeah. How many blocks does it take to get your save file for Resident Evil 4? I can't remember, but I remember playing it.
Right. I have the biggest one, dude. The biggest GameCube memory card right here. Ready for this? 1,019 blocks are in this memory card right here. So
I remember that.
unfortunately it's corrupted. So sad day. Sad day.
That's
Yeah, Super Nintendo says he has a 14 terabyte on his Xbox and it's at 81%. Send help.
Oh my gosh.
But then Destinot points out people need to go pay Factor 5. Like, get that company back together and have them start compressing stuff. And, I mean, those guys did amazing things on the GameCube, on the Nintendo 64, even the Super Nintendo. They did amazing things, amazing work. Those guys were geniuses. Like, I would love to see what they could do. And maybe Nintendo needs to help the developers understand better how to optimize for this system. You know, maybe that
always happens too. I mean that you know the as the system gets older, developers learn the ins and outs of it, and they develop better for it. So it may hurt now, but it may not hurt later.
Right. Yeah. So let's get into happy news. The last 2 weeks in a row, Nintendo has tweeted out Animal Crossing pictures. One of KK Slider saying that he's always punctual, and it says hashtag Nintendo Power, hashtag Animal Crossing. And then last week was Cap'n, hashtag Nintendo Power, hashtag Animal Crossing. So in my mind, this means one or two things, maybe three things. One, they just want to make sure we remember Animal Crossing. How would we forget Nintendo? We wouldn't. Two, they're finally going to start giving us info on the mobile app. Or three, which is what we all want the most, is that Animal Crossing is going to get announced very soon for the Nintendo Switch. And I'm so ready.
I would be excited for that. I live in some of my best memories in college were just sitting around playing Animal Crossing all day and just collecting fruit and hitting the chicken that I hated in my village with a net till she left. And no, she was rude. She deserved it. She was very rude to me. She did not welcome me or send me any letters on my birthday. I will never forget her. She deserved to leave. But it had NES games on it. It had NES games, and it had a card reader. And Nook was a shyster. But
Game Boy Island.
Oh yeah, the Game Boy Island was the only way that I could go to class. I had to have the Island on my Game Boy Advance so that I could go to class.
And you could put those Nintendo games on on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah, and pinball was on there all the time. I loved me some NES pinball. It was so good, and that was the only way I could play them too. But yeah, if they come out with an Animal Crossing for the Switch, it will be the replacement for Stardew Valley for most people, I can imagine. And if they do a dual launch where they're just like, hey, we're just gonna, everything in the kitchen sink. Here's Animal Crossing for the Switch, and here's the companion app for your smartphone, so you can take a look and see what Nook is selling today and sell off stuff in your inventory and have fun. It'll sync up when you get back home or you connect to the Wi-Fi, and that's all just like they're like, hey, that thing that you wanted to pay $20 for, this is part of it. And they're like, congratulations, we figured out cloud. That would be awesome.
I have just two words: stock market. If I was able to check morning and afternoon prices on my phone from the app without having to fire up the game, we'd all be millionaires in our Animal Crossing village. That's all I'm going to say right there. Like, my mind's literally blowing as I speak these words. Like, I would love that, dude, if I could check the stock prices and what if Nook has moved into like an Amazon type store where you have to check his goods on the app. You can't even buy them physically. It's only, it's just like online shopping, but
I can just imagine like a little drone coming in and dropping your present down at your feet in Animal Crossing, and the little drone just goes off, and it's not even a drone, it's just Lakitu, and he's got his little fishing rod, and he's just like, "Hey, did you order this from Nook? Cool,
Right.
here you go."
It'll be like Nookazon or something,
It.
so it's like Amazon, but oh man,
Nookazon.
yeah,
Just trademark that right now.
right. I
Just
should
stop the stream. Trademark Nookazon.
definitely. Super Nintendo says I could see Animal Crossing coming out March 2018. I really hope that's the case. I honestly hope that's the case, because one of my favorite things is summertime, sitting outside by the fire. My wife will have her DS out. My daughters will be playing, and the four of us will just be sitting around the fire playing. And even my one of my sons plays it periodically. He's not too into it now, and I don't blame him. But I mean, I love that. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I hope it's out before summertime. That's all. This
That
just
would be
descended into fan fiction. This is what happens when Animal Crossing fans talk. Oh, we've just barely opened this can of worms. Believe me, we could go.
Man.
We could go forever. So I want to hit the reviews real quick, and then we will get into our retro questions. So Earth Atlantis, I have changed my score from last week down to a 5. I really tried hard to get into this game. It looks really nice, but there's just not that lasting appeal there. There's just not enough substance. There's just not enough content to it, unfortunately. It looks pretty. It kind of plays like those older games we mentioned last week, like Gradius and Life Force, but without the reason to just keep going. Like it's just kind of blah. Hate says more like a 3 or a shell no, don't buy. So yeah. So anyway,
who is this marketed to then? I mean, they wanted it out for a reason. You know, they put their love into it. So who would you recommend this to? Like what demographic?
Honestly, it kind of has like a mobile game feel to it. So if you really like, for some reason, playing games on your phone, I don't know. I just know it's not for me. I know it's not for me. And yeah. It does look really pretty. The game plays just fine. Controls good. But I don't feel there's, without any kind of story or anything like that. It's just like there's like a boss and you kind of fight it, and it's just, there's not, I don't know. It just doesn't hold up to today's standards, I don't think.
See, this kind of falls in line with the whole like Tumbleseed game, because that was a game it was an indie game, but there wasn't much narrative. You had one point, you started here and you ended there, and it was really hard, and that's kind of what drove it. But it feels like some of the indie titles that we're getting are kind of like that, where it's just like, hey, you know, we built a game and we made it look really cool. There's not much story, so it's right up the old NES alley.
Yeah, but it just doesn't have the charm. It doesn't have the charm.
That's
so
a shame.
You asked who it's for. Hate said Pirates, Old Captains. K-Cross says for 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You know, I don't know.
James Cameron.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, add some Abyss in there, would be good to go. The next one that I reviewed, and you can find this on my YouTube channel if you want to see the gameplay, but is Tahuhu Kabuto V Burst Battle. I gave it a 5.5. I would say avoid this game. It tried really hard to be like a mashup of games that it just did not. Neither of them panned out. From my understanding, at one point it was a bullet hell game, and then they, along the way, like I watched an evolution of the series, and then at one point they had a fighting game which looked great. It was like a Street Fighter kind of style. This is essentially a third person fighting game, but with you're fighting with your magic, and if you get close enough to the person, then you do a melee attack. It does not work. it actually looks like Mode 7. If you guys watch my video, the way the board moves around your character, like you don't really move your character around the board. It looks like the board's moving instead of vice versa, like Mario Kart, on the SNES. And so, yeah, it like there's the art style is a little bit strange. The music is not very good. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities about this game. That's third person. Do you know what Mode 7 is? Yes, but what I'm saying is that it literally feels like Mode 7. Like it does not have the fluidity of a modern third person game. So I would say avoid it. Unless you're a huge fan of that series and you want to you just want to have the game in your collection, then there you go. But otherwise, it ain't worth it. Kirby Geek asked better than the Troll and I didn't open the Troll and I, so I don't know. So
do you think this is going to be like a continuing like thread for indies? I mean, when the Switch first started, I remember like the Vroom game, the girl on a broomstick one, like that was like an obvious like, hey, don't pick this up. But I mean, we had really good indie games coming out. We had the Shovel Knight ported over, Fast RMX, I Am Setsuna, which I know don't get into it, but Blaster Master Zero came out. Boys was ported. We had a bunch of Neo Geo, really pretty decent games for the launch. And now we're seeing a lot of stuff that really isn't. It does start to kind of feel like it's getting close to that kind of Steam shovelware quality. I mean, when do we just say no? I mean, do we just kind of ignore it and move on and not buy them and wait for better quality games and praise those, or are we just going to be overrun by some of these indies that are kind of half-hearted titles out there?
In the case of this burst battle, like I feel like I don't feel like this was something that was just kind of phoned in. I feel like they were really hoping it would be, and I've read a few like reviews. I've watched some other videos, and some people like are into this. Like they're like, oh, this is really cool. I got into one online match, took forever, one online match. And I'm like, how long has this person been playing this game? Like, why are they this good at it already? How could they play it this long to get this good at it is what I was really asking myself. And, so there's going to be some people that these games are for. And this isn't just like, I don't believe it's just like a run of the mill, like, indie title. I mean, we're talking about, like, physical release. The company's been around since I believe the 90s is where a lot of these, and they were mostly PC games, but
so they've got some lineage behind them. I mean, they've been making games for a while, so
yeah,
why would this one be so subpar? Or maybe this is their par.
It's, so my understanding, it's one guy, and I jokingly said, is this the one guy in the company that they're like, hey, you drive everyone crazy, so will you just go back in that office there and make your own game, and you just do what you want and we'll release it? I don't know if that's the case, but like that's kind of what it felt like. The other thing it felt like is this guy was trying to take a risk on this game and create something that was unique and different and a mashup, and instead of it being a home run, he struck out, and that's going to happen. But I feel like, honestly, if they had stayed with a bullet hell style game, but made it third person and had waves of enemies coming at you while you threw those attacks, that would have been a much more fun game. And if the enemies got close, you could melee attack. I think that would have been Instead, you've got these little girls that look like they're ready for a slumber party, just running around. Like, I had to modify the controls so I didn't have to take my thumbs off of the stick so that I could see where they were running, because you move the camera. You said
this was one guy in a basement making this alone?
From my understanding, it is one It is one guy, but
Okay.
uh,
Have we checked his background?
I think it's been
I
the
mean,
same guy. I love the chat right now. Super Nintendo sounds like Josh's kind of game. Oh my gosh. I'm not even going to. The comments I've got on my review video, I had to just delete them. They were so horrible. I could not believe the things I was reading. Um, Buying this game
about
gets you on a
about the
list.
game or about the content?
About the, like, oh, I don't, just about, anyway, I don't even want to get into it. It was just
Okay.
terrible. It was terrible.
Okay.
But let's get into our retro games here. So, what Game Boy games, if there was a Game Boy Classic, would you like to see?
I want to see the Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening DX with a special dungeon. If see that gets into a weird territory because would they do color? Would they do color? Because I can
It's a
I can
good
understand
question.
just a basic Game Boy, but I would want them to put color games on there as well, and I'd want Pokemon Yellow, and I'd want Link's Awakening DX. Those are like two musts.
Right, right.
And Tetris. I mean, you gotta have Tetris. But some of the Super Mario Land games are so good. So I'd probably say Super Mario Land 2, for sure, and then Pokemon Yellow and Zelda DX.
Yeah, so Super Nintendo says Revenge of the Gator, hates his Mario Land. Um, and he says
Mm.
another game that I'm afraid if I try to read that, I'm going to end up saying something inappropriate, so I'm going to avoid it. Um,
Boktai? Boktai?
so,
See,
um,
that's one I haven't heard of.
yeah, neither have I. Super Nintendo says he wants it to come with a built-in Game Boy camera. Destinaut says Pipe Dream. Um,
Yeah, I
so
can see that. That'd be a good one.
Kirby Geek says, I think they will force everyone to complete a few levels of Tetris to unlock the other games. So as far as Game Boy titles for me, of course you got to have Pokemon, right? You've got to have Tetris. Tetris is an absolute must. Dr.
Yeah.
Mario is great on that system. Surprisingly,
But
this
we already have Dr. Mario.
well, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep it
Okay.
going.
Okay.
So, yeah, Super Nintendo says Alleyway, absolutely. There's a really fun puzzle game called Quarth. Solar Striker is not a stellar game, but it was still pretty fun for the Game Boy. This is going to be old school, guys, but Prince of Persia was awesome on the Game Boy. The original Prince of Persia game. Very fun. Gargoyle's Quest is also very good. The Super Mario Lands, of course. Metroid 2, Samus Returns, again, stellar game. I've spent the most time in a Kirby game on the Game Boy. The Mega Man games were also good on Game Boy. So I mean,
The Dreamland.
there is a slew of games. Destinatus is so overrated. Prince of Persia was so overrated. There's just so many games on that system that like, and it, I mean, obviously licensing would become an issue if you got into games like Ninja Turtles. I mean, there's super funny games that like, how does this even work? Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, like what? There's two buttons and a D-pad. What are we doing here? But I mean, we were trying. F1 is Super Nintendo says. So there's a lot. And if you do watch my video on this, like I show some of the pictures from back in the day, like when they were selling accessory kits, and there's this kid with a bowl cut and he's got games coming out of his mouth and he's trying to hold everything, and like yeah, it's pretty funny. So so check that out. So how about 64 games? What's 64 games? And let's just throw licensing out the window. Like if we could have the games we want on that system, what would be some 64 games? And guys in the chat, I want to hear from you as well.
Well, I mean, you have to start off with Super Mario 64. That's a must. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Conker's Bad Fur Day. What else would I like? Star Fox 64. I definitely want to try Paper Mario because I never got that going. The Wave Race 64. There was the Star Wars. Was it Rogue Squadron before Rogue Leader?
Yep.
Definitely want that. It's bad, but I actually kind of want Turok on there.
2.
I'm good with either. I think one played better. I think it had a better frame rate than two, but some of the weapons in two were more entertaining when shooting giant dinosaurs.
Or each other,
Um,
because there was
or each
multiplayer.
other. That's true.
Cerebral
Yeah,
bore. I mean, come on, come on.
yeah. I kind
Um,
of miss some of the old wrestling games that were on there too.
Absolutely.
Like WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Oh yes,
God, that was a fun game.
yeah.
That was a good game with four players. Smash, can't forget Smash. But yeah, that it's a big list. There's plenty out there for them to pull from. But I don't know. Are there any ones that I missed that you have to have on there?
Diddy Kong Racing would be awesome because
Oh,
that was a ton of fun. Super Nintendo Dad's saying WWF No Mercy. 1080 snowboarding is also great.
yeah.
Kirby Geeks says Snowboard Kids. Alka-Seltzer Teeny said Mario Party 207163. Kirby Geek, of course, says Kirby 64. We can't forget that. This isn't one that probably a lot of people would choose, but I actually played. This was like when we were newly married and had very little money, and I was able to get the green Nintendo 64 that came with Donkey Kong 64.
Oh,
And so I would spend
nice.
most Sunday afternoons. My wife would fall asleep on me on the couch, and I would just play Donkey Kong 64 for hours and played all the way through that game, basically like that. So that's how we spent most Sunday afternoons, which was great. Yeah, Kirby Geek says they can keep Donkey Kong 64. Hate says Superman 64. No one wants that, but no one wants that.
Destinot made a good point too.
Yes.
If we're not going with licensing issues, I would love to play Star Wars Pod Racer.
For sure.
I dumped many hours into that pod racing game.
Yep. Kirby Geeks is Banjo, which of course, I mean you gotta have those. What was the other one? As we were saying those. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, I believe is what it was called.
That was a rough one.
That was see, I liked it, but again, I was like, I just geeked out on it, Like,
Yeah.
it's funny looking back on it. There's like two enemies on screen as at most because there's like it couldn't handle any more than that. Oh, Hate just
Yeah.
nailed it, dude. Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawk
Yeah.
1 and 2 are both on that system, and just they played great because you could use the C buttons to jump and manual and grind and all that stuff. Kirby Geek says Harvest Moon. So there you go. There's another good one too.
So we kind of touched on games. How do you think they would deal with four controllers?
I think they'll do it. I just hope they don't. I hope they make them easy to come by. I hope it sells with at least two, and then I hope the other ones they really mass produce them because it's $300 for an NES. The actual NES Classic controller in the NES Classic box is $300 on eBay right now.
That's ridiculous.
So yeah,
We've seen that they can actually pump out some numbers for the SNES, but that's basically the same board with a different shell and two controllers. So I'm worried with the N64 Classic that it would be a lot to do to produce that, and then I kind of wonder how would they deal with like the actual controller, because there was a lot of extra stuff on that controller that's not really needed, but you kind of have to make it like the original controller. That's kind of the whole point. So what do you do with the rumble pack slot or the memory card slot,
Well, you just put a memory card in it, man. I mean, what? Of course.
You mean I can't play my game without having to buy a memory card? That is ridiculous.
Oh wait, we haven't had
is
to do that for
ridiculous.
years. I forget. Hate says he hopes they fix the analog sticks. Super Nintendo
Yeah.
says Sin and Punishment, Mischief Makers. This is kind of cool
Carnage.
though. The Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super Nintendo says, more than anything, I'd love to see a playable demo of Earthbound 64 and SimCity 64 DD. And that would be really sweet if they released something that was unreleased, just like they did with Star Fox 2, Even if it was just something like demos or something. But Kirby Geek says Pokemon Stadium mini games. There's actually
Pokemon Snap.
and
Can't-
Power is it called Power League? It's a Tetris Attack variant that the levels actually spin. It's a really great game, really great puzzle game. I don't know if you ever played Tetris Attack, but
No, I played Tetris Sphere. Is
Pokemon
that?
Puzzle League. That's what it is.
Oh,
So Tetris Attack is on the Super Nintendo. Look up a video. It's an extremely fun puzzle game. Extremely fun. And yeah, highly recommend that one. So, man, there's really a ton of games. We didn't even mention like Killer Instinct Gold, the Mortal Kombats that are on there.
oh man. And Killer Instinct was on the actual packaging. Like that was one of the things that they're like, hey, if you want good games, N64's got Killer Instinct, it's got Star Wars, it's got Mario, it's got Pilot Wings.
It's got Mario Kart. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep
Yeah,
on
yeah,
going.
yeah.
So, but even like, isn't like Ogre Battle 64? I know that's kind of a sought after game. I think.
That's one everyone kind of touts as a really good game, but I didn't even cross my like hemisphere when it was out. Like I was too into like Zelda and Mario Kart games and GoldenEye and stuff then.
I played Ogre Battle on the Super Nintendo, so that's where I was. Which made me now just think the same person I would play that with. We played Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I don't know if you remember that on Super Nintendo, but
Yes, I did hear about that one.
so
Actually,
interesting. But all right, well, hey, this has been fun. I know you've been doing a little more streaming here and there. Where can people find you?
I'm pretty much everywhere. I've got it. Captain Logan, CAPT_LOGUN, because I got to be like that.
Branding.
But yeah, I love streaming. I'm usually doing Nintendo games, and when I'm not, I'm playing Heroes of the Storm, because that's my second love. But Twitter, just about anything you can find me on is capt_Logan.
Cool. Awesome. Guys, you're going to find me on Twitter at N64Josh. We do this show live Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's twitch.tv/N64Josh. You're going to find me everywhere else: YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. It's all N64Josh. Like I said, I've been putting out a lot of Nintendo videos. If you want to go check some of those out, I'd really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. I've been putting a lot of work into them, so it's been fun, very rewarding. So yeah, check those out. Remember, you can get a free book from Audible by going to audibletrial.com/NPC and pick out a book of your choice. They got some great video game books. They've got great fantasy, sci-fi, that kind of stuff. That's audibletrial.com/NPC. Also, the seat I'm in from OP Seat. It's a great gaming chair. It's very affordable, very comfortable. Go to opseat.com, use coupon code N64Josh. Also, guys, if you could take a second, leave us a review on iTunes. I would really appreciate that. It will just help get more eyes and ears on the show, which would be awesome. And you can check out this show live, like we said. You can check out the past broadcasts on YouTube. You can also listen on Podbean, Google Play, and let's see, iTunes, Podbean, Google Play. Yeah, there we go. So that's all the places. Thank you so much. If you're here with us live, Alka-Seltzer-Tini, Hate Zero, Kirby Geek, Destinaut, K-Cross, Super Nintendad. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but thank you for lurking. I really appreciate it. And Logan, thanks for the short notice, man. As my other guest got sick last minute, unfortunately. So I appreciate it, dude. We will see you guys next week. Okay, we are still live. Thanks again, everybody that's here with us live. Let's go raid somebody with an NPC raid. Let's see. Sharon in bed. We'll go there. Give me 1 second. We'll find somebody to raid. Let's see. All right, let's go see my good buddy. He's not live just yet, but he will be shortly, and that is Young Khan. So let's go show Young Khan some love. Let's blow up his chat. I'd really, really appreciate it, guys. So here we go. Let's see. What does Super Nintendo say? What if the Game Boy Classic hooks into the N64 Classic for Pokemon Stadium? Kirby Geek's like, what? I love it. I love it. All right, here's Khan's channel, guys. Let's go hit him with an NPC raid. Thanks again for being here with us live. I really appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys next week.
Nice.
All right, we are